Dear students, I hope you are fine and doing well. You know that yesterday we had started this chapter, which is basically the chapter number 4 about data communication. Data communication is basically a very important aspect of computer science because today the complete world is dependent on the communication of the data. So yesterday we had gone through a presentation in which we saw some important terminologies and we discussed about them. Do you remember those things? If I ask you, okay, what were the things that we discussed yesterday? Can anyone define about it? Yes, please. What is basically meant by data communication? What is meant by data communication? Please raise the hand. Anyone? Yes, Muniba. What is meant by data communication?
Data communication, it means transfer of data, exchange of data, and
Simple.
it has different.
Yes, this is the simple answer ki transmission of data, exchange of data from one device to another device. This is called the data communication. Good. So I have told you, okay, you should at least try, okay, for this, okay, what we are basically discussing about. Acha ji, what is basically when we say data communication? So what comes in our mind? What is basically the data communication? And what is actually the data? Who will tell me about the data? Abdur Rahman, can you tell me about what is meant by data quickly? Abdur Rahman, you should try at least. Abdur Rahman, you had raised a hand for the data communication. Don't you know what is meant by data? Yes, please.
uh, the quantities, characters, or symbols on which operations are performed by a computer,
Yes,
which may be stored and transmitted in the form of electrical signals, and recorded on magnetic.
yes, definitely. The data are basically the raw facts and figures that we enter, that we store inside the computer system, and that particular data could be processed with the computer system, and it could be transmitted from one device to another device. The processed data is called information. Similarly, we discussed about yesterday. We discussed about the information. We discussed about the transmission as well. What is meant by data transmission? Okay. What is meant by a signal? Who will define what is meant by a signal so that then we can move ahead? What is meant by the signal? Yes, kindly raise the hand. I had given you the data in your Google Classroom. If you remember, I had given you the Google Classroom code last day, and I had told you, okay, when you will log in your Google Classroom using your Gmail ID, you will see that yesterday's lesson is there in your Google Classroom, and you will see that, okay, Google Classroom, I had communicated to you. This is basically your Google Classroom code, and I had already uploaded here. The yesterday's lesson is there of 10th August, and the material that we discussed yesterday, I had given you the soft material is as well in the form of notes. The important things are there, whatever we discussed yesterday. Signal and its types, these all things were there that we discussed. And the video of the lesson is also there. And you can play the video, you can download the video, and you can see that what were different things. This is the video. So day wise video is also there. Yes, Zulkaf, you have raised the hand. Yes, please.
सर सिग्नल का मतलब बताना है.
Yes.
A signal is an electrical or electromagnetic current that is used for carrying data from one device or to another network.
Good.
It is the key component behind virtually all communication computing networking.
Good. Fine. Mainly, The signal is basically a carrier wave which carries data. It may be electrical or electromagnetic in nature, which transmits data. Okay, that is basically called a signal. And signals are having so much importance in the computing because the data transmission is entirely dependent on the signals. Good. How many types of signals are there? Please raise the hand. How many types are there? Who will tell me about it? I had shown you one video as well in this regard. Anyone else? Anyone else? Raise the hand. Okay, Abdul Rahman. How many types are there for the signals? Quickly.
Energy and power signals,
Types of
real and imaginary signals.
these are some other categories, but we are basically concerned about their nature, the nature of the signals. We had discussed, I think we had discussed something in very nutshell, and when I showed you the video, yes, Muniba, can you tell about these signal types?
Analog and digital signals.
Analog and digital. Basically, these are the two signal types that we are going to discuss today. Uh, Analog signal and the digital signal. So what is basically an analog signal? Analog signal is basically in the form of a sine wave, a wave that is in the form of crust and troughs. That is called an analog signal. And a digital signal is not basically in the form of a sine wave, but it is in the form of discrete numbers, that is binary digits, binary values are there in the digital signal. So analog signal is a continuous signal, keep in mind, which is the time varying feature variable of the signal is representation of some other time varying quantity. So analog signal, as I had shown you in the video as well, I am going to show another video today which will cover this thing. Okay, analog signal is a continuous wave format. What is that wave format? We are going to show you one example over here. But first we see what is basically the digital signal. A digital signal is that signal being used to represent data as sequence of discrete values. Now this discrete values is very important. Why? Because discrete values, whenever we say discrete values in computing, so discrete values is basically referring towards the binary digits which are actually the zeros and ones. These are called the discrete values. The on and off, when we say on and off, doesn't mean that on and off is completely off. On and off are actually the low and high voltages of current. Acceptable input signal voltages ranging from 0 to 0.8 volt is representing low voltage. Okay, this is called low voltage, is basically off, and the voltage which is from 2 to 5 volts is called basically a high voltage, which is called 1. So on and off are basically these things. So this is the representation, that how do we represent a digital signal. The digital signal is represented in the form of discrete values, and this is shown as squares, as you can see over here in this given diagram. And the analog signal is basically in the form of a sine wave, which has got a crust and trough. Now, both have got different qualities and different characteristics. The analog signal does not have that much quality that the digital signal has got for the communication of data. If I show you another video, a very short video, you will see one more thing about it. Just please pay attention over here.
Hello. Analog signals carry energy. If we use voltage to represent energy, analog signal wave should be smooth and continuous over time. By smooth and continuous, it means that within any range of analog signal wave, like from point A to B, there are infinite values in terms of voltage. A digital signal wave, on the other hand, looks like this if we draw the graph of voltage over time. Viewed from afar, the digital signal wave may look smooth and continuous, but when we look closely, there are tiny discrete steps. By discrete, it means for any range of a digital signal wave, like from point A to point B, there may be very large but not infinite number of values.
Okay. So what does it show? It is basically showing us that the analog signal is having a voltage which is varying. It is basically varying voltage over here, and the digital signal is not having varying voltage but in the form of discrete values, that is in the form of zeros and ones. These links I have also provided you in your material. So when I will upload today's material, so these links will also be provided you. You can go through the complete video as well. Now, if we go through the differences, because sometimes the examiner asks you, okay, what is basically the difference between an analog and a digital signal? So how we can differentiate between the analog signal and a digital signal? As we have discussed that the analog signal is basically continuous wave. This is basically a continuous wave, and in this continuous wave there are changes over the period of time. But in the digital signal, discrete wave is there, and discrete wave is there that carries information in the binary format. So this is basically the foundation difference, the basic difference between the analog and the digital signal. Number 2 point is the representation. The representation of analog wave is the sine wave. Sine wave is there. The wave which is in the form of crust and trough. Crust and troughs are there, as we have already seen in this picture. Crust and troughs are there. It is called sine wave. But in the digital signal, we can see that the representation is in the form. The wave is there, as we saw in the video. The wave is there, but when we will look closer, the wave will have the discrete values which are basically represented by the square waves. Squares are there which are representing the discrete values, zeros and ones. So when we will say the analog signal, it will have frequency, amplitude and period of frequency. These all things are there which are related to the analog wave. Amplitude means distance between the mean position and the extreme position, and the period or frequency is basically that in how much time it is covering how many cycles. Just like the analog current is measured in 220 volts. Okay, so 220 is the voltage and 50 hertz is basically its frequency. 50 hertz means it is going to cover 50 cycles per second. It is basically its frequency. But what happens in the digital wave? In the digital wave, the discrete bits are there. Bits are there, and the rate is measured in the bits per second. Bit rate is there in the interval. So normally you would have seen that whenever we are measuring the speed, we measure the speed in terms of the bits per second, and those bits define actually the frequency of the data. Achha ji, analog wave has no fixed range because the variation is there, but in digital data the fixed range is there, which is basically between these two numbers which are 0 and 1. Achha, analog wave jo hai na, analog wave is actually having problems, distortion. Distortion matlab ke the signal could be disturbed. The signal could be disturbed by some other noise and other factors, environmental factors and noise factors. They can affect. This point is very important. So that's why its quality is not that much good. But digital signal is less prone to the distortion. Distortion like environmental factor, noise factor, and other factors are not going to destroy the quality of the signal. So in this regard, if we see, so we will be able to say that this is very important thing. And digital signal has got this advantage over the analog signal. An analog signal transmit data in the form of a wave, as we have already discussed that the transmission is in wave, and over here the transmission is in binary. We have already discussed about it. What are the different examples? Now see the examples. Analog wave is the best example of, is basically the human voice. It is a longitudinal wave, human voice. When we are speaking, we are throwing a wave disturbing the air molecules, and that wave is being transferred from our tongue to the receiver, which is basically some person's ear that is receiving it. And the example of a digital wave is definitely the digital signal is the signal sent from a computer keyboard to the computer system or the CPU. It is definitely in the form of zeros and ones. So it is an example of the digital signal. So sometimes in exams you may be asked for the differences. So at least you should remember at least 5 differences, because you may have the question. So according to the range, according to distortion, according to example, these are the headings that I have made over here for you, so that you can remember what kind of differences are there between the analog wave and a digital wave, analog signal and a digital signal. And I am going to provide all this material in your Google Classroom. You don't need to worry about it, so that you can go through it. And the video of the lesson will also be available in your Google Classroom, as I have told you. Now we should come towards the data communication that we have discussed over here. What is meant by basically data communication system? What comes in your mind when we say system? Can any student tell me what comes in your mind when we say system? What is meant by system? जैसे हम कहते हैं computer system. What come by this word system? When we say data communication system, please raise the hand. I would like to know from you, okay, what do you understand by the term system? Yes, please. Anyone, not necessarily your answer is correct. You should try. Yes, Faisal Talat, you have raised the hand. Yes.
Devadar, sir.
Yes, yes.
A set of things working together as parts of a mechanism or an interconnecting network, a complex whole.
Okay, good. Good answer. Having good keywords. Good. He used different keywords, you know. जैसे he said कि organized, structured, working together, integrated. These all things are basically the keywords to write a good answer. Okay, fine. So as Faisal has mentioned over here, system means ke some components which are working integratedly to make some collective output, that is called system. Just like computer system. So computer system mein only CPU is not the system. Only monitor or display is not the system. Only mouse or keyboard is not the system. When all the peripheral input and output devices, processing devices, memory devices, all things are working, then it is called a computer system. In the same way, when we are saying data communication, so data communication system is a complete system. What does it show? It means that data communication system collect data from devices such as microphone and let the data to be carried from the source to destination. Whenever the data is transmitted, there is some source and there is some particular destination to which the data is being transmitted. So this thing is very important, कि whenever we are transmitting data, so keep in mind that data is being transmitted or information is being transmitted from one device to another device, okay, and making a complete communication system. And what are basically the different things which are there, the different components which are there. So whenever we are making a video call, whenever we are sending an email, or we are doing chat, or we are sending an image on the WhatsApp, we are basically using a proper data communication system. So what are different components over there in that particular data communication system? This is the thing that we need to understand. What are different components? Number one, there is a sender. Always there will be a sender. The sender will be there who is sending the sender. We are not referring to that person. He is the sender. Person there is. We are not referring to the person. Person is there, of course, but person is having a device through which the device is basically the sending device. It may be a computer, a laptop, a tablet, a desktop PC, a notebook PC, a mainframe or mini computer or supercomputer, whatever, any kind of device, any device. Even when we are pressing a key from the keyboard, so then that keyboard is basically the sender, and the CPU is basically the receiver, which is receiving that particular key. Then there would be some receiver, destination. So they are also called source and destination. Sender and receiver are also called source and destination. So the destination will be there. When you are sending some email, so there would be some destination address, destination device to which you are sending your mail. Okay. So then what is there in between? There is basically a medium. Of course, we need to have a medium. That medium could be a wireless medium or a wired medium through which we are sending. Without medium, you are not able to make a communication, data communication successful. Then, what actually you are sending? What you are sending? Of course, there would be some data packet. Therefore, there would be some voice message. There would be some file, some audio file, video file, text file, image, simple text, multimedia text, whatever type of data is there that you are sending from the source to the destination. So of course data will be there. And the last thing is that which is called the protocol. Protocol means the rules and the regulations. The rules and regulations through which, this is very important thing we are going to discuss about the rules, the protocols. First, we should see that basically these are the components in a simple communication model. Whenever we are dealing with the communication, there would be some sender, receiver. Of course, data will be transmitted over the transmission medium following some protocols. What is data? We have already discussed about, so I don't think so. Okay, we need to discuss data. Maybe as over here, the examples are mentioned. Okay, data may be text, audio, video, images, or even combination of all these things. Okay, so we don't need to go in the detail. It would be definitely some kind of file. Okay. Then come towards the sender. Sender. A source must send to a particular destination. Source is basically the sender. The source is basically the device through which you are going to send message. It may be a computer system, as I have told you. It may be a cell phone. It may be a tablet or laptop or mini computer or mainframe computer, any sort of device, even a small device, even a part of the device. As I have told you, when we are pressing key from the keyboard, then keyboard is basically the sender and the system is basically the receiver. When we are sending a print, then of course the system is basically the sender and the printer is the destination. Okay, because we are sending data from the system to the printer. So in that situation, two devices are there which are behaving as the sender and the receiver. So receiving end, there would be some device, and at the sender end there would be some device which is sending the data. So these are the essential parts. Besides these parts, the communication will not be a proper communication. It could not be completed. It is not following the proper rules and regulations for the communication. Now come towards the medium. Medium is very important, and we are going to discuss about different kinds of medium in your upcoming lessons as well. Medium means how you are sending, whether it is a wire or it is a wireless signal. When I am using my cell phone, so at that particular time, of course, my cell phone is sending an electromagnetic wave, a signal that is being sent from my cell phone to the nearest tower of the service that I am using. And of course, the medium is that particular time is wireless medium. But when I am using my computer and I am sending a print to the printer, of course, at that time I am using some kind of cable. Some cable is there which is being used to send the data. And that particular cable is there. So in that situation, you are using a wired medium. So basically there are two types of medium, wireless medium and wired medium. Then further categories are there in the wireless mediums and the wire mediums that we will be discussing in the coming lessons. So, and their characteristics are there, their advantages and disadvantages are there that we will be discussing about. But there would be some transmission medium. Without medium, you will not be able to send data. Okay. So these all are the examples: coaxial cable, fiber optic cable, microwave signal, Bluetooth signal. When you are transferring a file from your cell phone to your PC, or one cell phone to another cell phone, you are using a Bluetooth. So Bluetooth is basically a signal that you are using at that time. That is a wireless transmission. So there are two categories: wired or wireless mediums. Now protocol is very important thing. I would like to ask you people, because this is a comparatively different thing. Please raise the hand and tell me about what comes in your mind. What comes in your mind when we say protocol? What comes in your mind? You would have listened the word protocol in journal life. In journal life, what is meant by protocol? Please. Anyone, please try at least. And kindly don't need to Google. If you are going to Google and tell me the answer from there, but just tell me your concept. What do you know? Yes, please raise the hand. Protocol, please raise the hand. Muniba, not, there isn't any other student who is going to try. Okay, yes, Muniba, quickly.
Protocol is a set of commands or a procedure.
You searched it or you know about
No,
it?
sir.
You know about it?
Sir, I know about it.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Protocol, when we say in journal life, yes, Zulkaf, you want to add something? Yes, Zulkaf. Why did you lower the hand? Okay, anyway, protocol is basically when we say in journal life protocol. Okay, bhai, when the prime minister came, there was a great protocol. What does it mean? It means that some rules were there which were followed when prime minister came. It means that rules and regulations. Okay, when the chief guest came in our school, there was a protocol for him. So what does it show? We followed a number of rules. There was a proper discipline, and the people were taking care of the things. Ali Haider, you want to ask something? You want to say something about it? Ali Haider. Okay. So protocol means rules for the communication. Just like when I am talking to you, I am following some rules. Can anyone tell me what kind of rules are there that I am talking to when I am talking to you? In the meanwhile, I am going to mark the attendance and you think about it in a second. 1 or 2 seconds are there that I am going to give you. What rules are there? What protocol is there that I am following when I am talking to you? Let me mark for the attendance first. Acha ji. From Abdul Aman to Abdul Aman to Muhammad Abbas to Muhammad Maaz. Okay, fine. I have recorded. Acha ji, yes, please raise the hand now. Kindly raise the hand. What protocol is there that I am following when I am talking to you? Is there any protocol that I am following right now? Muhammad Abbas. Yes, kindly.
The official procedure or system of rules governing affairs of state or diplomatic occasion is called protocol.
Muhammad Abbas, can you tell me what protocol I am following when I am talking to you people? What do you think? Anyone else? Anyone else? It is a general question, but it will make your concept clear about this whole thing. Quickly raise the hand. When I am talking to you, I am following some protocol or not? Please raise the hand. When I am talking to you, I am following a number of protocols. Number of rules are there that I am following. Number one, I am talking to you. Yes, Zulkaf, you want to add something? You have raised the hand. Okay, fine. When I am talking to you, I am following a number of rules. Number one, I am talking to you in a language that you can understand. Number one thing. It's very important thing. When I am talking to you, I am following a rule that is I am using a language which you can understand. I am using a language that you can understand. If I use some other language, some Chinese language or some German language or the language that you don't understand, our communication will be failed. Why? Because you people don't understand that language. So there will be communication failure. Are you getting this point? Similarly, when I am talking to you, I am also following another rule. I am talking to you in such a way that it is not that much loud and it is not that much low sound. If I am talking in a very low sound, you will not be able to listen to me. My voice will not be clear to you. So, and similarly, I am not talking that much high loudness with the high loudness, so that you will be annoyed. I am talking with a particular loudness so that you can listen to me. This is another rule that I am following. Similarly, when I am talking to you, my style is basically a teaching style. I am not talking to you or giving you the lesson like in a singing style. It is another rule that I am following. There is another protocol. My way of talking is teaching style. So this is another rule. If same content I am going to sing over here, so definitely it will be something different and you are not going to have the clear concept about it. So what is basically a protocol? Protocol is basically nothing but a set of rules. Whenever we are making communication, we are following a number of rules. We are following a number of rules that applied on the data communication. These are the rules or the procedures. Whenever two devices are connected, they are following some rules and regulations that is called protocol. Protocols, different types of protocols are there for sending email and receiving email. There is an other protocol for sending and receiving WhatsApp. There is an other protocol for normal communication over the internet. There is an other protocol. So different types of protocol are there for making a video call, for making an audio call, for sending and receiving files. We have got different types of procedures. Okay, so the main concern is that different types of rules and regulations are there that we are following over here. So we should move again towards the picture that we had discussed over there. Now I think this thing is very much clear to you. Okay, whenever we are communicating, one source is there, sender, number one thing is this. Then one receiver is there, number two is thing. And the source is also called, sender is also called the source, and the receiver is also called the destination. Then there is of course a medium. The medium may be wired medium or wireless medium. Fine, as we have discussed about. Just like we said that when we are transferring a file from a cell phone to the computer using Bluetooth, then the medium is wireless. When I am trying to send the data from one computer to another computer in my lab, then I'm using a twisted pair cable. Then the medium is wired in nature. Then of course the data or the file or that particular content that you are sharing, you are sending from source to destination, the message or the data would be there. And we are following some rules. If the rules, and definitely these rules are already made by different companies, the rules are made by different companies. There are some specifications. Whenever we have got a data communication over the different digital devices, we are following basically a model which is called OSI model. OSI basically a model to make rules. So rules are made by different companies. By Microsoft there are some rules, by the for the Windows, for similarly some other operating systems are there, just like Android operating systems are there, so they have got their own rules. Okay, so all the rules are standardized basically in nature, and they are based on the data communication rules according to the OSI model. These rules are called protocols. And keep in mind that this process is reverse. When receiver sends, when receiver sends, the receiver becomes source and the sender becomes destination. For example, when I am sending a WhatsApp to you, then I am source and you are destination. But when you are replying to me, then you become source and I become destination. So this is the way. This is basically the simple data communication system. And if you go to your book, you will be able to see that this topic is given in your book, and I have explained you with different examples. I will definitely provide you. This is the topic that is given over here in your book, and I have explained you in that much detail all the things, and with the proper diagram. And I hope all of you are able to write now, inshallah, in your exams to get good marks in your exams. So up to here, if you have got any question, kindly ask me. Raise the hand. Anything that you want to clarify, anything that is not clear to you, please ask me, so that all the queries should also be addressed. And I should know that all these students are involved, because your class participation is basically comparatively low. Some students are there who are performing, who are uh, asking the questions as well, but some students are there who are just, I don't know, they are watching like a movie, they are not asking anything. So you should ask. If some question is there, please ask me. Okay, please raise the hand. Please raise the hand if you've got anything to ask. Otherwise I will understand that all things are clear. What should I understand? All things are clear. All of you have got very good clear concept. Nothing is there to discuss now. All the things are clear, or all of your queries are solved. Please quickly, we have only 2 minutes left. Okay, fine, no question. Okay, now go to your Google Classroom. That is the thing that I was showing you. Okay, I will upload the data that I have discussed in the PowerPoint presentation. Your data will be provided to you. Word file will be given to you, in which all the data will be there. Even the links of the videos that I show you, those links will also be inshallah provided to you, so that you can go through. Because when you search on the YouTube or somewhere else, you get a thousands of videos, and some videos are there which are not relevant to your syllabus. Some videos are there which are lengthy, some are there which are more technical. So I will share with you those links which are quite relevant to your syllabus, no? So that you may have a good concept about